So earlier this week, before I made my video, I asked everyone on Twitter, what video should I make this week? And I gave them two choices. Should it be a video that includes more facts about Canada, which I've done before, which people seem to really love? Or should it be what I think about Justin Trudeau's victory? The votes are in, and the verdict may surprise you. Hello, welcome to another Just a Damn Minute. As I said in the beginning, took a vote, asked people what they wanted me to do, and resoundingly, with something like 60% of the vote, 65% of the vote, people said they wanted to hear more facts about Canada. So here it comes, the second edition of Facts About Canada, and I'm calling this one 5 Weirdish Facts About Canada. Let's start in the plain provinces. Now, they're not called plain provinces because they're plain, but because literally the geography is very plain-like, grassy. That's not the first fact though, don't you know? The first fact is about a little town in Manitoba called Winnipeg. And by a little town, I mean, you know, big city. At least for a prairie province. And I should know, I live in one.
I hate Winnipeg.
In 1957, Winnipeg was the first city to adopt a universal emergency phone number. It was called 999, and today it's called 911. First city in North America to do this, and in 1972, it was adopted in other cities across North America. Thanks so much for your work, Winnipeg.
I hate Winnipeg.
A fact number 2, the origin of poutine. So it's the story of poutine goes like this. In 1957, a truck driver at a restaurant in Warwick, Quebec, asked his server, Fernand Lachance, to put cheese curds on his fries and gravy, and that's how poutine was made. It's literally the most inauspicious tale about food. And now poutine is consumed all over the world, I think. At least all over Canada. And here's the trick. It's not just fries, gravy, and cheese. It has to be those delicious, squeaky little cheese curds. If you're not using those, you're doing it wrong. Now let's travel west and north over to the territory called Yukon. The Yukon Territory borders BC, and it also touches Alaska. And we should all be so fortunate as to touch Alaska. Or touch an Alaskan with their permission. But here's a story about Dawson City, Yukon, which was a city that was sort of one of the places you would go during the gold rush. At its height, Dawson City was home to 30,000 residents, but it's now home to something like 1,300 residents. And it can't actually legally be called a city, except that it's actually called Dawson City. So with only 1,300 residents, Dawson City is legally called, and let me get this right, the town of the city of Dawson. Zing. I'm gonna end with 2 facts about interesting streets in Canada. So up until about 1999, it was agreed that Yonge Street, which goes through Toronto among other municipalities, was the longest street in the world. Hilariously, Toronto used to also be home to the tallest freestanding building in the world, but that record has been shattered a million times, most recently by the Burj Khalifa in the city of Dubai. So now we're on to our 5th fact. This is also about a street, and it's about the narrowest street in Canada, which is actually in Victoria, British Columbia, the capital of BC, on Vancouver Island. And the narrowest street in Victoria is actually called a street called Fan Tan Alley, and it's in Chinatown. And at its narrowest point, Fan Tan Alley measures only 0.9 meters wide, or 35 inches, which is about 35 inches. Look at that. To scale, this is about the length from the middle of my chest to the end of my hand, 35 inches. It's interesting to note that while Fan Tan Alley might be the narrowest street in Canada, it's not the narrowest street in the world. That honor belongs to a street in Reutlingen, Germany, and it's called the Sprüherhofstrasse. Sprüherhofstrasse. At its widest, it's 19.7 inches wide. So that's how wide this street in Germany is. At its narrowest, it is 12.2 inches. So like a foot. So there you go, 5 interesting, weird, fascinating facts about Canada. Thank you to the people of Winnipeg for the emergency call number 911. Thank you to the people of Toronto for tricking us into thinking they had the longest street in the world. Thank you to Dawson City for being a town. Thank you to Fantan Alley for being a narrow place that people can hang out in for some reason. But most especially, thank you to the truck driver in Warwick, Quebec, who just wanted some fucking cheese curds with his fries and goddamn gravy. Oh, Canada.
I hate.
Thanks so much for watching this week. There's more exciting things to come. I'm getting back into the groove of making more videos. To those of you who've hung on this long, thank you so much for encouraging me to make more videos. And hey, if this is your first time checking out my channel, do yourself a favor, do me a favor, do everyone a favor, and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss anything. I'll catch you again in a few weeks. Thanks for watching.